Hello, and welcome to this segment of Experts on Tap. I'm your presenter, Rufus Handsome, and I'm a technology advocate for in-source solutions. Now, in this segment, we're going to be working with the AVEVA Edge HMI, and specifically two aspects of it: the remote alarm notification, and we're going to utilize custom widgets, specifically to view web cameras. Now, how we're going to do this, we're going to focus on, the two sections, or the two aspects of it: the remote alarm notification and the working with the web cameras and the custom widgets. So the first thing we're going to do is, with the remote alarm notification, we're going to set up an email server, or set up our email server settings, and we're going to set up alarms for notifications. Now, when working with the camera, there's a little more activity that we need to do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about installing the custom widget framework on the client node, and we're going to then create the custom widget in the IDE, and we're going to edit the web files associated with the custom widget. Then we're going to create the screens and test the graphics. Now, during this process, I want you to take note that when we're entering URLs working with our custom widget, we're going to have to make sure we include the HTTP and the HTTPS prefix. And also, we're going to also need to make sure that the websites that we want to utilize, or that we want to navigate to, also uses or allows the use of iframes. Okay, those are a couple things we've got to take note of. Now, first of all, let's take a look at setting up our email server settings for our remote alarm notification. Okay, so let's go to the IDE. Now, for remote alarm notification, one of the things that we need to do is we need to simply go here to Project up on the ribbon here, and we'll go to Email FTP. And this icon, just simply select it. And this gives us the ability to set up our email server settings. Now, for this demonstration, I'm going to be utilizing Gmail. Okay, so I'm going to say so I have to fill in this information underneath this category here, this outgoing mail server information, or SMTP. So for the from category, I'm going to say, well, the information is going to come from my Edge HMI at hmi.local. This is just some arbitrary name. And then for the server information, I'm going to say just simply type in smtp.gmail.com. Now, this information is readily available on Google, so you can definitely find it. But because I'm going to be using SSL encryption, then I need to set it up with this type of port information. Like, for instance, port number 465. Now, coming down to the specifics as far as the outgoing mail server authentication, we need to set that up. Just enable the checkbox. My server requires authentication. We will be utilizing the SSL, or secure socket layer, so we want to enable that. And so you will enter in your username and your password. And once that's done, what we need to do is just simply come down here and just simply test it. So we just click on test and just put in an email address where we can receive the information. And for time's sake, I'm just going to copy and paste a lot of the information. So I'll paste it in there. So I'll be sending it to this particular demo email address at gmail.com. So I'll click on send. Now, if everything is good to go, we should get the email sent successfully. And then if you open up that email, you should see you receive a test message. All right, so I'll just say OK here, and I'll say OK there. Now, the next step is to go to tasks and come to alarms. Now, this is on the alarm sheets. I have two alarm sheets here. And so I'll open up the first alarm sheet. And one of the things I need to configure is the email settings. So I'll click on email settings, and I'll say I will enable the checkbox here to enable send automatic email to this email address. And here I can set all of the other information that I want that's in relation to the particular message. And this is a sample of what it's going to look like. If I click on status, you can see that the sample, okay, changes based on my my choices. Now, once that's done, all right, I'm good to go. I make sure my alarm limits are okay, my alarm messages are okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save it, and I'll close it, and I'll open up the second alarm sheet and do the same thing. Same email address, I'm enabled. I want the status information, so I'll modify that, and I'll check the message format to make sure everything's good to go. Look at the sample. Okay, the sample meets my criteria, and if everything else is all right, I'll say okay, and then I will save this alarm sheet. Now let's test it. So I will run my project. Now, as my project is running, I also will open up my Chrome browser. I think I have it over here. And I just will happen to have my email open up for that particular site. So if I come back here, you can see that I'm already getting, this is that confirmation test that I did earlier. You can see we're testing here. And if I come back, you'll see that I've had some alarms earlier, and I'm getting, I'll get some alarms now as soon as it comes in. And this is the format. As you can see right here, it'll say this is the date, this is the time, this is the actual tag, and this is the alarm getting high. Okay, so this is that information as far as dealing with alarms. So this is how you essentially set up alarm information for your particular, as far as remote alarm notification for your tag. So let's head back and let's go to our HMI. Let's go to our alarm screen. Okay, so we do have some alarms here coming through. Now, how fast you get these alarms, it often depends on, because you can see the one here. It depends on how fast your email server can get, can receive the information and send the information to the expected recipient. Let's see if I've got some alarms coming through. It may take a little bit of time because I am using Gmail. Okay, there is an alarm. There's a couple, two new alarms that just came in, and with the status information. So that confirms that my remote alarm notification is working. Okay, now let's move on to the next section, dealing with custom widgets. So I'll go ahead and shut this down. Now, to work with custom widgets, the easiest thing is just to go to the online help and just simply go to the search tab and type in custom widget, and you will see in the listing, you'll see a document that deals with custom widgets. Now, inside of this document, it gives you general information about working with custom widgets and so forth, but it also gives you links to other documents that are relevant to what we're trying to do. Now, to work with a custom widget, the very first thing that we should do is to install the custom widget framework on the client station. Why do we need to do this? Well, if it says here, if your project screen includes custom widgets, you might need to install the custom widget framework. Okay, I have an automatic light, so it just went off and came back on. So let's go ahead and click on this link, and okay, let's see what it says here. So, to install the custom widget framework on a client station, okay, we have to go to this folder, and we need to execute this particular file. So let's navigate to that folder. It's C Program Files x86 AVEVA and AVEVA Edge 2020, because that's the version I'm working with, and then we'll just simply walk the tree. So going to that folder, C Program Files x86, AVEVA Edge 2020, Redist, Redist, and then there's another folder called Custom Widget Framework. and we'll just simply select this executable file here and just simply run it. Now I've already taken a liberty to do it in the interest of time, but this is the first thing that you have to do. Okay, now let's minimize that and let's head back to our documentation. Now, looking at the documentation, the next thing that we need to do is we need to create a new custom widget within our IDE. So I'm going to go back to the IDE and I'll go to the Graphics tab. Now, in order to create this new custom widget, the first thing that we need to do is access the draw capabilities on the ribbon. In order to do that, we need to create a new screen. I'm going to call this screen webcam. Web cameras, or as far as in the description, and I will go ahead and set some of the parameters as far as the screen attributes, the size and width. Okay, so for the width, I've got some numbers here that I kind of wrote down. So 874, because I want to integrate it into my current application, so I need it to have specific numbers. So the height at 618, top is going to be 150, the left is going to be 150 as well, so it can match my other screens. And I'll say OK, and so now I have my screens now, and I also have my draw option on my ribbon bar. And now I will locate under libraries this option here for custom widget. So I'll click on custom widget, and I'm going to create a new custom widget. I'm going to call it web browser because I need to see my web cameras in a web browser. So I'll keep the defaults here at 100 height and 100 as far as width. I can modify them later. Under properties, I'm going to create a new property called URL. Now, under events, I also want to make sure that I capture when the page is loaded. So I'm going to create another an event called page loaded, and I'll say OK. Now I have my new custom widget, and I'm going to just simply select it, and I'll say OK. And now that custom widget is available for me to use. So I'm going to just widen it up a little bit because this will reflect the browser that I'm going to display. My custom widget is as you can see, an HTML5 based browser that I want to run within my screen here. So I'm just going to maneuver it and expand it here and there. Now, I also want the ability to enter in the actual URL. So I'll just go ahead and put it here. A text box right here. With this text box will allow me to enter in a URL pretty much similar to what you will do in the navigation bar with your typical browser. Now, one thing that I want to do is also set the properties for my object, my widget. So I'll double click on it and you'll see that the name of my new object here is web browser 1. And I'll click on members and you'll see that one of the properties is called URL. Now I need a tag to store the URL information, so I'm going to type in URL because I created a tag called URL, and it's just a string tag, just a string tag. So I'll create that, and under events, okay, I have this event called page loaded. And so now to add, I'm going to add a script to this page loaded here, and I'm going to say page loaded equals page loaded count. But I've got to use this page loaded counter, excuse me, +1. And I got to put a string character or $sign there, because there is also a actually I wanted that right there. So what's going to happen is this page loaded counter is going to increment each time the page is loaded based on the event, okay, and the event is called page loaded. And but this is a tag that's going to store a counter. So I'll click here, and again, this is the page loaded event. So I'll say OK, and click on X. So that's configured. Now, as far as the URL, I want to make sure input is enabled, and whatever input that is entered in, I want it stored inside of the URL. And so this is a tag, again, that I created earlier. And I also, going back to the draw here, I also want to display a rectangle with a counter that lets me know each time that the page is loaded. So I'll double click on this, and under caption, I'm going to capture some information, and I've already taken the liberty to make sure I do this correctly with cutting and pasting. I'm going to copy that. So here I'm going to store the value, okay, this right here, these are two curly braces. I'm going to display the value, display the value of this particular tag as the caption to my rectangle. Now, let's go ahead and test to make sure. Actually, I may want a button too as well, just to kind of exit out because I'm doing development here. So I'm going to put a button on the screen to exit out this window while I'm in development. So here I'm going to change the caption to exit. And I'm going to associate a command with this button. And that command is shut down. It's essentially a function. Now, let's test and see. So I'll just click on Run to run the program. Now, as you can see here, let me move this up so you can see it better. So I have my web browser here. So right now, if I start typing stuff in, you see, well, it doesn't work. Well, we've missed a step. Doesn't seem like my exit is working as well. So I need to work on that. So the next step we need to do is we come back here. So, okay, what step did we miss? Well, we got to edit the web files that are associated with our new custom widget. So let's head over here and we'll go to our application. Say Edge Applications. I'm Edge 2020 R2 Training. And if we head down to Web, okay, this is the application folder. And if we go to the Web folder, we'll find another subfolder called Widgets. And if you look here, this is our widget, okay, by name, called Web Browser. So we'll take a look at it. And we're going to be working with two different files. First, the index file. So I'll open the index file. I'll open it with Notepad. And we see in the index file we got a whole bunch of stuff that's already preloaded for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to my pre-existing information, and I'm going to show you exactly why I do this. So I'm going to copy this information and I'm going to go right back to my Notepad. I actually go back to my file here and I'll open it up in Notepad, and this is the information that I'm going to replace right here. So I'll highlight the body of this HTML and then I will just simply paste the new body information. So so where did I get this information from? If I go here to the help file, you'll see that it lets you know that we'll be working with two different files, and one of those files is called the index.html, and the other one is called the custom_widget.js. So under the index.html, it tells you that when you open it up, you will see this default information here. So what we want to do is we want to delete the default contents, and notice that it did delete all of the contents under body. Okay, delete the default contents under the body section, and all we did was we just simply inserted this information. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to open up our custom widget. We'll save our previous file, and we'll open up the custom widget JS. And so let's head back to Notepad. Okay, let's go ahead and close that. Let's make sure that Notepad actually saved our information. All right, so it did. So I'm actually okay. It's opening up with Notepad++, another tool that I'm using. So I'll say save. Okay, so that saves the index.html. Now let's head on back and let's open up our custom widget here. And I'll open that with Notepad++. It kind of makes things a lot simpler. And let me go to my desktop here. Because I've got some additional information there. So this is the information that I want to substitute in the custom_widget.js file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just simply copy all of this. Again, in the interest of time, as opposed to typing it out, I'm just going to copy and paste. I'll head back to my file that I'm working with, and I'll select everything and just paste over it. Now, what this is saying here is with the custom widget, all right, with the .on property, I'm going to change that information to what my this portion of it right here is my property of my custom widget. And here I'm going to reference the information, the myFrame information. I'm going to assign the document, which is document.getElement by ID, and it's myFrame. Okay, this myFrame is inside of this HTML index.html file. So I'm going to substitute all of this information here, okay, inside of my custom widget.js. Now, where do you get this information from? Well, you can again go back to the help file, and if we scroll down, it says use the text editor. Then we opened up the custom_widget.js file, and this is what we see by default. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to get rid of all of this stuff and replace in the original file. It will have something called property name. And so we replace property name with our property of our custom widget, and that property happens to be URL. Just to kind of give you a sense of what we're working with here, we'll head back to the IDE. We'll take a look at our custom widget, and again, we go back here and look under property. You'll see that the property is URL. And so we want that information inside of our file. So this tells it that we're going to execute a function, and more specifically, the myFrame.src or source equals cwidget.url, which is that property. So we'll go ahead and we've edited the information. If we head back to our help file, you'll see that we have an example to follow. So we're just following the example, because what we're going to do is just simply display content in a web page. That's all we're going to do. So we'll head back to our file. We'll make sure we save it. I'll minimize that, and I'll go back to my IDE. Now we've saved the information. See see if I can get that function there. Shut down. There we go. Now we're going to shut down. This is our exit button. I forgot we need to at least have that. The $sign. So now let's run our program or our application. I'll stop the current application and save it. We'll save our screen, and I'm going to call it webcams. And let's run it. Now I'm going to type in some information. I'm going to say http insource.solutions and hit enter. Now you'll see that the counter went up because the page is loaded. I'll go ahead and accept all cookies, and now it shows the website. That's what we expect. Now I'm going to show you what happens if you type in the wrong information to a website that does not accept iframes. So www.google.com. So I'll type that in. You'll notice that I get this error message here. It says SSL error with error blocked by response. This is not a problem with the software. This is a problem with the website. That means the website does not accept iframes or does not allow iframes. So now I'm going to put in some additional information. Let's say I forget to put in the HTTP. So I'll say HTTP, or not HTTP, but www.google.com. Notice I get a different error. It says error, file not found, just because I did not add that particular HTTP. But let me add HTTP, and I'll go to another site that I believe allows iframes. Dogpile is just another search engine. So if I click on it, so again, this is another website that allows search engines. So I'll exit out. Now let's add some buttons to access some web cameras. So head back to draw. I'm going to put a button on the screen here. Change the caption. I'm going to change it to camera 1. And I want it to execute a command. And this command is very simple. I'm just going to assign the URL to the particular camera. And I've already got it listed here for the interest of time. So I'll copy this URL, and I'm going to paste that information here. So I'm going to assign URL, that's the tag, making sure to use the $sign here, URL equals this string value, which is this particular URL. So I'll save that. And I'm going to copy this button 2 more times. So I'll open this up, and I will first of all change the caption to be camera 2. Let's head over to the command, and let's see what camera 2, okay, that URL is 208. Okay, I'll copy that, just that portion of it. Let's head on back here. Now, attention to detail is very important with these things because we want the correct information. So I'll save that one. I'll copy this again, paste. I'll make this camera 3. Let's change the caption to camera 3. Let's go to the command and let's get the correct camera information. Head back. Just simply copy and paste. And save that as well. And I also want to add one more additional button just to go to a specific website. So I'll change that, the caption again. In this case, I'll just put in source website. Let's head over to the command, and let's copy and paste the actual command here for the website. And this is just a simple assignment. So I'm assigning the website to the URL tag. There you go. And that should be good to go there. And I'll make that button just a little bit wider. Now, the next thing I do is save my screen, and I want to incorporate this into my application now because I know it works. So I'll head over to my navigation menu, and I already have a button here. So let's take a look at it. So let's change this, and let's navigate to the correct screen. I'll save this. Now let's run our program. So I have my application, and here is my button for my web cameras. Let's go there. Okay, there's nothing coming up, so let's click on camera 1. That's camera 1, as you can see, live cam. Camera 2. Hope there's nothing going on in the neighborhood. Okay, that's the neighborhood. And here is camera 3. Just another view of the same street. And now let's head over to the in-source website. And we'll accept all cookies. Okay, and there you have it. That's how you utilize a custom widget within the AVEVA Edge software framework. And also, that's how you can set up the remote alarm notifications as well. I thank you for your time. Let's bring this back up. I thank you for your time. Again, my name is Rufus Handsome. I'm a technology advocate for InSource Solutions. You can always reach me at rhandsome@insources with 2 S's, INSOURCESS.com. Now, I have a couple of questions. In terms of remote notification, why would I use this as opposed to other products? Well, this type of remote notification is very simplistic. It's free because it comes with the software, so you don't have to pay anything extra for it. And it's incredibly easy to set up and configurable. If you need much more power and you need scheduling and things of that nature, well, for one thing, you could utilize the script functionality within Edge to come up with some type of scheduling routine, or you can purchase more advanced remote alarm notification software such as Win911. Custom widgets, are they easy? Can I import other types of custom widgets? Yes, you can. There is the capability to import other custom widgets that were developed by other folks. But the responsibility is on you to verify the functionality of those custom widgets. But anyway, thanks again for your time. I do appreciate it, and let us know if you have any questions. All right, thank you. Have an awesome day or week.